I never used to mind staying in hotels alone. After 3 years of solo business trips, I had gotten used to it. The hum of the ice machine down the hall, the muffled television through thin walls, the strange comfort of a bed that wasn't yours. You stop noticing after a while. You just check in, sleep, check out. Simple. That changed the night I stayed at the Millhaven Motor Inn. It was late October. I was driving back from a conference in a city about 6 hours from home, and I'd made the mistake of pushing too far into the night. My eyes were burning. The road was dark and completely empty, and I kept drifting toward the center line. I needed to stop. The Millhaven was the first place I saw, a long, low building set back from the highway with a red vacancy sign buzzing in the dark. The parking lot had maybe 4 or 5 cars in it, the kind of place that exists just to exist. I pulled in. The man at the front desk was older, maybe mid-60s, with thin, white hair and glasses that sat too low on his nose. He didn't look up when I walked in. I told him I needed a room for one night, just one person, and he typed something slowly into a computer that looked like it was from 2003. He slid a key card across the counter without a word. Room 114, he said quietly. End of the hall. I remember thinking he seemed tired, or maybe just indifferent. I didn't think anything of it. The room was exactly what you'd expect. Brown carpet, a bed with a floral comforter that had been washed too many times, a bathroom with flickering tube lighting, and a mirror with a small dark spot in the upper corner where the silver had started to deteriorate. I dropped my bag, took off my shoes, and sat on the edge of the bed. The heater under the window kicked on with a loud clunk and began pushing warm, stale air into the room. I turned the television on for background noise, brushed my teeth, and got into bed. I was asleep within minutes. I don't know what woke me up. There was no sound that I could identify, no door slamming, no voices in the hall, just a slow crawl back to consciousness, the kind where you're not sure if you're still dreaming. I lay there in the dark, staring at the ceiling, and that's when I heard it, knocking, not on my door, on the wall to my left, the wall that separated my room from whatever was next to it. 3 slow knocks, deliberate, evenly spaced, like someone making sure they were heard. I sat up. I told myself it was another guest. Drunk, maybe. Knocking on the wrong wall, not thinking straight. I lay back down and pulled the covers up, but I couldn't shake the feeling that had settled into my chest. Something heavy, something I couldn't name. Then it happened again. 3 knocks. Same wall, same spacing. I got up and pressed my ear against the wallpaper. I could hear something on the other side, not knocking anymore, breathing. Slow and very close, like whoever it was had their ear pressed to the same wall I did. I stepped back fast. My heart was going hard now. I grabbed my phone off the nightstand and called the front desk. It rang 7 times before the old man picked up. I told him I could hear someone in the room next to mine and asked if someone was checked in there. There was a pause on the line. Room 113 is unoccupied, he said. I asked him if he was sure. He didn't answer that. Instead, he said, I'll come check on it. And then he hung up. I stood in the middle of the room with my phone in my hand and waited. 5 minutes passed, then 10. I cracked open my door and looked down the hall. It was completely empty. The fluorescent light at the far end was flickering slowly, throwing the corridor in and out of shadow. I couldn't see the front desk from where I was. I closed the door and locked the deadbolt. That's when I noticed the smell. It was faint at first, something damp and cold underneath the stale warmth of the heater, like wet earth, like something that had been closed up for a long time and was only now being let out. I checked the bathroom. I checked under the bed. Nothing. But the smell kept getting stronger. I went to the window and pulled back the curtain. There was a man standing in the parking lot. He was standing completely still about 30 feet from my window, facing the room. Not my car, not the building in general, my window specifically. He was wearing dark clothing, and I couldn't make out his face in the dark, but I could tell he was looking directly at me. I let the curtain fall shut. My hands were shaking now. I dialed the front desk again. It rang and rang and rang. Nobody answered. I pulled up the keypad to dial 911 and stopped when I heard something that turned my blood cold. My door handle moved, slowly, the way someone moves it when they don't want you to hear them trying. Just a small rotation, testing whether it was locked. I stared at it without breathing. The deadbolt was on. The chain was on. But whoever was on the other side of that door knew I was in here. I backed toward the window and grabbed the desk chair, wedging it under the handle the way I had seen in movies, but never thought I would actually need to do. I called 911. I told the operator my location, told her I thought someone was trying to get into my room, told her about the man in the parking lot. She told me to stay on the line and stay away from the door. I could hear her dispatching a unit. The handle moved again, harder this time. Then a voice came from the other side of the door, low and completely flat, like someone reading words off a page. I just need to come in for a minute. I didn't respond. I just need a minute, the voice said again. I kept my back to the window and kept the phone pressed to my ear, and I watched that door handle like it was the only thing in the world. The chair held, the deadbolt held, and eventually the sound stopped. The police arrived 11 minutes later. They searched the property. They found the door to room 113 standing open. The room had not been rented out. According to the clerk, it hadn't been rented in over 2 months. But there was a chair inside, pulled up directly against the shared wall with my room. Sitting on the seat of the chair was a single room key. It was a key card for room 114. The man from the parking lot was gone. They never found him. The clerk on duty said he never saw anyone matching the description in or around the building, but he also couldn't explain how someone had gotten into a locked room that wasn't in use. I didn't go back to sleep that night. I sat in my car in the parking lot with the doors locked and the engine running until the sun came up. When I drove away, I looked back at the Millhaven in my rearview mirror. Every window was dark, except one. Room 113. There was a figure standing at the glass, completely still, watching me drive away. I have never stopped at a roadside hotel since,